And if you're not working in New York, you're nuts.
Sorry, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. How are we all getting on? Welcome back to the channel. It is the final day of the Allianz National Football League, match day 7. We're going to be reacting to all the games live, sharing live updates, watching the Kerry and Galway game because that's the game that's on TG Cahir. They probably could have chosen a better game, in all honesty, but that's the game we're going with. I think Clare Down is also on the app as well, but I'm not too sure if I'll be able to get on this. Let me know if people can hear me all right there because we had a few. I think we're okay now. I think we're all G. Yeah, you'll see all the scores up on the screen as well. Plenty of big matches, big games taking place. We've got the Kerry-Galway score just up here. Down Clare is up here. You've got Longford, Wexford, Derry-Roscommon, Dublin-Tyrone, Leitrim, Tipperary as well. Of course, there are bigger, or well, not bigger games, but there are also some other huge games happening this weekend as well. Jack says here the referee here in the Longford v Wexford is very questionable, not giving Longford obvious freeze. There we go. Has that game already started? Oh yeah, it did actually. Those games started at 1:15, didn't they? Let's have a look here. Oh yeah, that game started at 1 o'clock. Yeah, wow. Yeah, 7 points to 1-2 so far is the score there. Leitrim, Tipperary, Leitrim 3 points apiece. So there we go. I thought those games started at 1:15. My bad. We'll have to update those scores. So there we have it. Yeah, Wexford already starting nice and strong. Which is obviously yeah, not so good if you're a Longford fan, but we will run through all the permutations and everything else in just a moment's time. Just looking at the Leitrim Tipperary game, 3 points a piece there as well. So yeah, should be coming up close to half time, I'd imagine, in either one of those two games. But yeah, we will try and update the scores as we go along. Thomas says Division 2 ended yesterday. Yeah, we'll run through some of the Division 2 results and everything else. It would have been a lot better, I think, if they would have like kind of spaced the, like, I know the Division 4 games are at 1 o'clock, but it would have been great if they had, you know, Division 4 3 o'clock on a Saturday, Division 2 6 o'clock on a Saturday, and then space the games out on a Sunday as well. I know obviously you have to have all the games from a particular division playing at the same time. That makes sense because it's the final game. But I do think at the same time, they should have spaced it out a little bit more. In fairness, Graham says, how come you never went to Croker today? Bad turnout here today. In fairness, yeah, I just decided I'd do this stream instead. I like doing this stream sort of on the final day of the National Football League, reacting to all the games and everything else. Bit disappointed the game's not on TV, to be honest with you. I was planning to actually watch the Dublin-Tyrone game, but yeah, it's not on TV whatsoever, which is a little bit disappointing, but there we go. Denise says, hope all is well. Aaron, a lot to play for today. Yeah, there most certainly is. And we'll run through sort of the permutations and everything else in just a brief moment. I will update the scores as we go along, but do bear with me a little bit if we do end up a little bit behind. There's a lot going on. There is a lot going on. And I'm obviously a one-man team and everything else. So, but there we go. Yeah, a few Division 4 games have already been happening. And if we have a look there, we will see Wexford so far having the better of Longford by the looks of things there. So actually, as it stands, I think Leitrim, Tipperary are actually now leading Leitrim as well, 4 points to 3. So potentially Wexford could... Wexford are after getting a goal as well, just looking at it there. Mark Rossiter with a penalty. So maybe that's what you were speaking about, Jack, in terms of some of the decisions and everything else. So, absolutely huge for Wexford, who have been on a good run of form, actually, in fairness, it must be said. Finally putting a run of results together and everything else. We will have a few guests hopefully joining us at different points as well. I'm not entirely sure who will be on the stream or whatever, but we'll hopefully have different people joining us at different points. Looking forward to it. I think what I will do now, Dara says Wexford and Laois currently going up in Division 4. Yeah, as it stands. Just looking at the Waterford Laois game. Laois, wow, gee, mother of Moses. Oh my goodness me. So far it's Waterford 1 point, Laois 4-8. And we've only played 25 minutes there. I mean, I'm looking on Scorebio, so unless that's a glitch or something, that's that's why I didn't put the Waterford Laois score up on the screen, because it was like, we all know Laois is going to win that game. Do you know that way? But yeah, Jesus, poor Waterford there. That's, you worry what score that might end up. I mean, like, to put that into perspective, Laois are 20 points up after 25 minutes. That is absolutely wild. Wild stuff there. Absolutely mental. Absolutely mental. So Wexford with the goal from Mark Rossiter. A2 says poor Waterford. Yeah, it's not good at all. Not good at all if you are a Waterford man. But look, it was always expected, to be fair, that Laois were gonna get promoted. Probably actually did Waterford less favours that Laois lost last week, because it meant that Laois actually had something to play for going into this game. But there we go. I think what we'll do is we will have a look at the tables and everything else before we crack on, so we can have a look at permutations and everything else. And we will have a look at, obviously, last night's results. Obviously, the Division 2 games taking place on the Saturday. Probably would have rather them to take place today as well, just so we could have, discussed them games as they were happening. But obviously, there probably wasn't as much to play for in Division 2, in fairness. So I think what I'm going to do now is we are going to have a look here, because I think this might be the handiest place to have a look. So as we can see there, if you lads can see there, I think everyone should be able to see what's happening there. So this is the Division 1 table heading into the final round of games. As you can see, Derry are set there with 10 points. Dublin are second with 8 points. Kerry third with 8 points. Tyrone and Mayo, obviously, I mean, there's a slim chance either one of those two can end up in a league final. But the most important thing for either one of them two is that they are safe. And as you can see, Monaghan already relegated. So I suppose they're the only side who have nothing to play for on the final day. And then you've got Roscommon and Galway potentially in a relegation scrap as well. Very surprised, actually, they didn't have the Derry-Roscommon game on TG Cahar. I have to say, I am surprised they went with Kerry-Galway. But But there we go. I mean, the Clare down game is on the app. But there we are. Yeah, as you can see there, Kerry versus Galway, Monaghan versus Mayo, Derry versus Roscommon, Dublin versus Tyrone. So Derry, they just need a draw to get to the league final. And there's probably a strong case. Like when you look at the points difference here as well, plus 25, Kerry are on plus 9. So, like if they were to lose, obviously Derry do have the better head-to-head with Kerry as well. The only way it goes to score difference is if Dublin win as well, and it goes down to 10 points. But let's not forget Dublin have the better head-to-head with Kerry as well, hence why they are above Kerry as of now. So that's probably what it goes down to there. So Derry, minimum a draw, but very likely, even if they lose, they're still in that league final. Dublin just need to beat Tyrone or better Kerry's result versus Galway. And of course, Monaghan versus Mayo means very little. I think the only way Mayo get to a league final, I've seen Mayo making 8 changes for that game as well. So multiple changes heading into that game from a Mayo perspective. But as we can see here, Mayo like plus 5. I mean, scored it unless they gave Monaghan an absolute thumping. Dublin lost and Kerry lost. They have the better head-to-head with... Actually, they don't have the better head-to-head with Tyrone as well. So I suppose they would all be on 8 points. Very, very unlikely. Very, very unlikely, put it that way. And then looking at the permutations, Roscommon do have the better score difference there. So as long as if they win and Galway don't win, then Roscommon will go above them. Both of those two sides drew against each other when they played each other. So that would mean that Roscommon would finish above Galway. Division 2 already happened yesterday, so this is how things finished up there. Donegal and Armagh both promoted. Fermanagh are relegated with Kildare. You feel sorry for Fermanagh a little bit there with 5 points, getting relegated, 2 wins, a draw. Like you think back to that Cork game, don't you? Like that's a 2-point swing. Fermanagh had it came through that, they probably would have stayed up, And who knows, Cork would have went down, I suppose, by default. They would have finished with 5 points. But yeah, Kildare lost to Louth, 12 points to 112. Donegal beat Meath. Obviously, that was fairly irrelevant. Cork and Armagh drew as well. Here, that was a great game. And Fermanagh beat Cavan. But yeah, most important thing there was Louth getting the victory. Ryan Byrne scored 1-2, I believe. So that was absolutely huge. Division 3 then looks a little like this. So you've got Down in Westmeath and Clare. You've got Clare taking on Down. What an absolutely huge game that's going to be. Be keeping an eye on that as well. Absolutely huge. Make no shadow of a doubt about it. Westmeath, of course, not out of the woods, but they do play Sligo at home. You would expect Westmeath to win. But of course, the Down versus Clare game in Park Esler, win either way and either side is promoted. So absolutely huge for either one of them. And down near the relegation scrap as well, you've got Wicklow. Limerick are already gone. We've got Wicklow, Offaly and Antrim still all very much in it. And when you look at the games, I think those games should be starting very soon as well. You do have Offaly taking on Limerick, so you'd expect Offaly to win that. But Antrim versus Wicklow, if Wicklow win, they will stay up. So, yeah, kind of incredible because Wicklow lost their opening 5 games, but yet they're still in it. They're still in it, which is quite mad. But there we go. And Division 4, some of these games are obviously well underway. They probably should be approaching half time. All up to play for, really. You've got Laois, who, as I was saying, are absolutely thumping Waterford at the moment. So they are promoted. Wexford, Longford, Leitrim, still all very much up for it. If Wexford are to be promoted, they need to beat Longford, and they also need to hope that Leitrim lose. But as long as Leitrim win, they will be promoted, provided that Longford don't beat Wexford. A little bit confusing, but we'll try and update everyone as we go along there. So, yeah, that is how things are shaping up on what looks set to be a fantastic final day of Alliance National Football League action. Leitrim are beating Tip. Denise says, great to see a woman referee reffing Leitrim v Tipperary. Absolutely. Wexford ahead by 10. Longford are falling deep very quickly. Wow, we'll have to update that in just a moment. Grania says a lot to cover today. Absolutely, there is a lot to keep up with. So do bear with me with scores and everything else. I will try my best to keep everything updated. Just looking at it there, Wexford 2-10, Longford 1-2. Wow, that's absolutely wild, isn't it? Jesus, Longford, especially Longford coming in with a great run of form as well. You know, you're talking about a 13-point gap there. Worrying times for Longford. Obviously, it does, it's kind of incredible. Like Wexford are giving Longford an absolute thumping there, but it mightn't actually mean anything because Leitrim and Tipperary actually drawn against each other 6 points to 6. So, that's. I suppose if Leitrim draw, then they won't be promoted now because they'll go on to 9 points, and Longford will go on to. Wexford will go on to 10 points. So, yeah, absolutely crazy there. I'll just update these score lines here. But yeah, the rest of the action should be starting soon as well. The Division 3 games throw in at 2:00, and the Division 1 games throw in at 1:45. So, very close now to throw in for those games. Tomo says Glenn Ryan will be sacked. Will get sacked. Yeah, look, it's not looking good for Glenn Ryan's perspective, in fairness. 7 games, 7 defeats. It just doesn't look too good, is it? It doesn't look too good at all. Pubble School says, is there any radio or TV for Dub's game? Thanks for the coverage. No, it doesn't look like there is, unfortunately, which is a massive shame. I was expecting to, because I didn't check what games were live on TV around before, earlier on today, but up until an hour ago, and then I seen the Dublin game isn't even on. But look, I suppose Dublin-Tyrone, maybe there isn't as much on the line there. Derry-Roscommon, I'm surprised isn't on, just because Roscommon could pull off the great escape. This Kerry-Galway game could be next to irrelevant, really, if if Derry if Derry start very strong against Roscommon, then this is a complete dead rubber, pretty much, and if Dublin start very strong against Tyrone. But there we go. Just looking at the Kerry side, Dara Roach is playing Killian Spillane, Sean O'Shea, and no David Clifford in the starting 15. So definitely a very rotated Kerry side. Galway have the likes of Paul Conroy in there. Dylan McHugh's in the side. Liam Silk. John Maher obviously in midfield. I haven't seen Galway's team announcement up until now, so I'll be curious to see who's starting in their forward line. But good to see Paul Conroy back in the side, in fairness. Very good player. Galway, of course, just need at a minimum a draw. Looking at their forwards there, Johnny Heaney, Keane Darcy, Connor Sweeney. You've got Rory Cunningham, Rob Finnerty, Killeen O'Correen is obviously in the side as well, who's been he's been absolutely fantastic recently for Galway. Rob Finnerty playing a full forward. Of course, no Shane Walsh, no Damien Comer as well. But I suppose that was probably expected, given everything there. Denise says Padraig O'Hara returning for Mayo. Yeah, absolutely huge. Seeing Mayo making 8 changes, is it, to their starting 15? So yeah, look, they obviously don't want to be in that league final. They play New York, a week after that as well. So there we go. Yeah, so we've updated them scores there in terms of Division 4. Look at that, Wexford 2-10, Longford 1-2. Absolutely grim stuff there from a Longford perspective. But of course, if you thought that was bad, Laois are beating Waterford 4-9 to 3 points as it stands. So absolutely comfortable result there from a Laois perspective. Leitrim now leading Tipperary 7 points to 6. And Wexford Longford is 210 to 1-3. So the comeback is on. Comeback is on there for Longford. To be fair, stranger things have happened, and if Wexford probably are the type of side that could throw that lead away. Leitrim, though, surely, like it's in their hands. Like considering they've been so close to promotion and everything else over the last few years, like this is absolutely huge for them to get promoted and get the job done. Because if they can't get over the line against Tipperary, with all due respect, like Tipperary probably are not the same team that they were, 4, 5, 6 years ago, when they won that Munster Championship. So, so there we go. Like you would expect Leitrim to get the job done there. Couple of minutes from throw-in the Division 1 games. As you'll see there, Wexford beating Longford 210 to 1-3. Leitrim beating Tipperary as well. We're looking at some of the scores on the Wexford versus Longford game. I am looking at the Scorebio app here, just in case anyone is wondering. It's probably the handiest thing just to keep updated with scores and everything else. Sean Nolan with 3 points there. Mark Rossiter with a goal. Glenn Malone with 1-1. Mimna's got 1-1. I'm actually not too familiar who that is. Mark Hughes with 2 points there as well. Yeah, it's just not looking good from a Longford perspective at all, is it? And yeah, we're approaching half time in all of those games as well. So Wexford 10 points up against Longford as it stands. Laois beating Waterford 4-9 to 3 points as well. So very, very comfortable there. Just looking at who's been on the score sheet, Evan O'Carroll with a goal and 3 points. Mark Barry with 2-3. Interesting enough, just looking at it here on the Scorebio app, Evan O'Carroll substituted after 27 minutes and Mark Barry substituted after 25 minutes. So, I mean, yeah, like did Justin McNulty just go, do you know what, right, that's it, game done, so I'll just take his off now? Or was that injury? So, obviously don't know. But yeah, that's an interesting one. Paul Kingston with 1-1. Looking at Waterford, Jason Curry with a point. So there we have it. Leitrim Tipperary, 7 points to 6. Dara Rooney with 6 points. Donald Rinn with a point there. Jack Kennedy with 2 for Tipperary. Doesn't seem to be any Sean O'Connor in the starting 15, which is definitely a big loss for Tipperary. So that's an even bigger plus, you would say, there for Leitrim. Denise says, after the Tyrone game, I feel Mayo no longer were looking for a league final, just wanted to stay safe. Yeah, look, I don't think you purposely go out and try to lose or anything like that, but I think there probably was an element of them, just taking the foot off the gas a little bit. Wexford says Wexford are the most random team I've ever seen in GA. Yeah, they're very odd. The fact that they could, are absolutely battering Longford, but mightn't get promoted. But there you go. Graham says, up the lads. Few lads have you on here in Crow Park. Great channel, to be fair. Yeah, absolutely. Much appreciated. I would say enjoy the game and everything else. But for anyone who is tuning in, like much appreciated. I am watching the Kerry-Galway game, so I'll be able to provide an update. TG Caher have got a bit of a split screen thing going on here now at the moment, which is pretty good. But yeah, we're about to throw in Kerry-Galway. I'll definitely be keeping a close eye on Dublin-Tyrone as well. Obviously, Derry-Roscommon. Monaghan are playing Mayo, but to be honest, I've probably got enough here to keep up to date with, so I'll probably ignore that game. But anyone who is watching that game or at that game, feel free to let us know what's happening. So there we go. The ball is thrown in. And yeah, I suppose Kerry are missing some big players, the likes of David Clifford and a few others. And Kerry straight away going for the early points, so they get off the score sheet straight away. Aidan says, are we able to watch Dublin versus Tyrone? Don't think it's on TV, unfortunately. Dublin-Tyrone has started. Yeah, it's underway. Yeah, no, I'm just reacting to the games and obviously providing updates on the games. But yeah, no, obviously won't be any Dublin-Tyrone game on here, unfortunately. But yeah, it is a shame it's not on TV. I don't know if it's on the radio or anything, but there we go. Good start there for Kerry with the early point. Point up early on. And of course, Galway missing key players as well. No Shane Walsh, no Damien Comer. So definitely some big players there missing from a Kerry-Galway perspective. Joe O'Connor was the man with that early point for Kerry. And to be fair to Kerry, they've started well. Like they're certainly going at Galway with everything they've got. I think Galway will certainly have one eye on the Derry-Roscommon game, which has no score to it so far. Kerry have just had an opportunity that's flew wide from Killian Spillane. Looking at the Dublin-Tyrone game, no score either there, but it looks of things. Of course, the Division 3 games thrown in at 2 o'clock as well. Obviously, the big game there, Clare versus Down, but of course, Antrim playing Wicklow. Whoever loses that game will be relegated. A draw would suit Antrim as well, but with the head-to-head and everything else, Wicklow were to beat Antrim, they would go in front. Just looking at it here, good point there for Dublin. Look like Kieran Kilkenny, just looking at the split screen action. And Dublin, is this going to be a goal? No, good save from Niall Morgan. I'm liking this little split screen action TG Carr have got going on here, in fairness. We're seeing a bit of everything, which is good to see. Yeah, probably was a bit of a poor turnout, I'd imagine, for the Dublin-Tyrone game, just with it being the final game of the league and everything else. You know, you'd imagine it'd be a much bigger turnout at the league final, provided Dublin obviously do get there. So yeah, Roscommon a point up as it stands there against Derry and the Smith with the score. So that is absolutely huge there for Roscommon. Obviously, still a long way to go. Like looking at the Derry side, there certainly has been some changes, but they still are going fairly strong. Like Conor Glass is in there, Gareth McKinless, Owen McAvoy, Shane McGuigan, Paul Cassidy, Lakeland Murray. Probably still is a few players like Noel Toner's on the bench, Kieran McFall's on the bench, Pork McGrogan, Brendan Rogers. So there probably are a few players, in fairness, there that aren't starting for Derry. Galway have just got a point on the board there as well. So good response from them. We will update the scores as much as we can as we go along. But yeah, still a long way to go. Still a long way to go, of course. Only early stages and everything else. Reminder of how things look in Division 4. Wexford absolutely thumping Longford there. 2-10 to 1-3 at half time. So very, very comfortable result scoreline there for Wexford. But with Leitrim beating Tipperary, it actually means that Wexford wouldn't be promoted from Division 4. So that's a little bit of a mad scenario going on there. And Laois are, comfortably beating Waterford as it stands there as well. So really, really comfortable stuff right there. Still 1 point apiece in Kerry versus Galway. Dublin obviously a point up last time I checked. Yeah. Feisty game there. John Maher getting dragged down. Run through some. Graham says Tyrone looks split here. Expect goals. Was Con with the point. Anywhere to watch Derry versus Roscommon, says Conan. Yeah, unfortunately not. I am surprised they showed Kerry-Galway. Like, I think Derry-Roscommon would have been the better game to show on TG Cahar, but that doesn't seem to be the case. In fairness to TG Cahar, though, they are showing the scores when they happen from the other games. They're doing a bit of a split screen sort of scenario there. So which at least is something. 1 point apiece now on the Dublin-Tyrone game. Just looking at it there, Aaron McCurry with the score. Derry-Roscommon currently 1 point apiece there as well. Shane McGuigan on the score sheet there as well. Not that the Monaghan Mayo game has much meaning, but Monaghan are 2 points in front there, so they'll be looking to finish Division 4 with or Division 1, obviously getting relegated and everything else, to be looking to finish with a bit of a flurry and a bit of a win, a bit of positivity there for the men from Monaghan. But it's, I suppose, as you're aware, in a lot of the games so far, 1 point apiece. Cagey enough maybe in some of these games. They're like low scoring very, very early on, even though we are in the opening sort of 10 minutes, 6 to 7 minutes. It's a good ball in there. Galway are certainly going to call a mark. And they do there. Rob Finnerty calls a mark, so you'd expect him to slot this one over and Galway to take the lead for the first time in the game. Kerry scored a point literally within the opening, 20 or 30 seconds, but haven't been able to find a response after that. And Rob Finnerty puts the ball over the bar. So as it would stand, albeit a long way to go, Galway would be safe regardless of what happens in Derry-Roscommon. And that's a great kick out one there by Paul Conroy. And Galway are they're meaning business here. Because it was a good start by Kerry as well. Like they looked like they were going to kick a couple of early points. Here's another one dropping over the bar. That's a superb point from Galway again. They now lead 3 points to 1. I think it was Killian O'Correen there who got the actually Rob Finnerty again. Actually, it was there. I think lovely score there from Galway, who lead 3 points to 1. So they've started very, very strong. Galway. Obviously, good news from a Dublin perspective. It means the Dublin-Tyrone game, regardless of what is going on there. But just think Colin Baskell has scored there. So 2 points to 1 up now for Dublin, which is absolutely brilliant. That's what you want to see. Colin Baskell obviously back in the side. 2 points to 1 up. It was Killian O'Correen who got that point actually for Galway, so I was right the first time. So 3 points to 1 up for Galway. Looking at Derry-Roscommon, 2 points to 1 for Derry as it stands there. Conor Glass getting the second point. So I suppose it's, as you were, really, in terms of like nothing's really looking like it's going to change so far, but obviously a long way to go. Kerry have the ball in a good position here. Ref has called looked like a bit of a soft enough foul there on Dylan Casey as he ran through, fell by John Daly. I thought that was a little bit harsh there, but Kerry will have a chance to narrow that lead back down again. And it's a fine point as well over the bar there. Killian Spillane, I believe that's his first point of the game. So good point from Mr. Spillane there to bring the game back down to a 1 point game. We'll update the score now in just a brief moment. And Derry have themselves a goal here as well by the looks of things. That's a fine goal. Number 17. Great finish. So that's not good news for Roscommon. They're 4 points down. Just looking at it here, Derry are on the complete opposite end. Is this going to be another goal for Derry? Surely not. They popped the ball straight over the bar, straight after that. I think Roscommon have responded with a goal, though, as well, just looking at it here. Declan Cassidy got the goal for Derry, but looking at score BO, Donny Smith has got a goal. So it's all happening. It's all happening. So Derry getting themselves a goal, and then Roscommon responding almost instantaneously there. So absolutely huge stuff there. It's all happening by the looks of things, and a much needed response actually for Roscommon, because to go, especially a team like Derry, who are going to sit back, absorb pressure, and everything else. Just looking at the goal here from Donny Smith, it's a great ball inside, and it just bounces completely over the goalkeeper. Oh, dearie me. What on earth has happened there? Is that Oren Lynching goal? The ball, he's just completely misjudged the bounce, and it's just bounced over him like a beach ball. Dearie me. That's not what you want to see from a Derry perspective. Conditions, I don't know what the conditions are like actually there, but yeah, the ball just completely bounces over the top of him and into the back of the net. Probably not what Derry fans will want to see, but an absolute lifeline really for Roscommon, because the goal came out of absolutely nothing. I'm not too sure who played the pass, but it looked like it was overhit. And then it winds up in the back of the net. Crazy stuff. Absolutely crazy stuff. Actually, no, I think Donny Smith got on the end of it in the end. But there we go. A2 says Galway are a dark horse for me when you consider Comer, Walsh, and Sean Kelly still to come back, Madej to come back, among others. They might just all start to click into gear around the group stages. Yeah, look, they'll definitely still be in the conversation. You definitely can't discount Galway. They were very good last year, up until they obviously lost to Mayo. And I do believe if Galway had beaten Mayo, they would. I still think Dublin would have beat them, obviously, in the All-Ireland quarterfinals. But I do think Galway would have given Dublin a much better game. There's absolutely no doubt about that. So, I think you have your front three, your top three contenders, which are probably Dublin, Derry, Kerry, in whatever order you want to put them in. But aside from that, in the sort of gap underneath, you do have a couple of counties, the likes of Galway, the likes of why is this not updated? There we go. It should be. There we are. That should look a little bit better now. Comment here who says Bandit says TG Carr doesn't stream into Northern Ireland, says due to rights restrictions is not available in commercial rights. Look, it is very frustrating. I've never, because I know RT do that as well. So it doesn't really, it's not really a good look. Bandit says Tyrone 3 points, Dublin 1-4. Up the lads. Happy days. Feels weird not actually being able to watch the game, but I'm sure TG Carr might give us an L split screen action there. Let us see the goal, hopefully. Still 2 points to 3 in the Kerry-Galway game, so at least it's meant I haven't had to update the score there, so a little less work for me. But ball dropped short there. I feel like Galway are definitely sitting back quite a lot in this game, inviting Kerry onto them. I think from a Galway perspective, they're probably looking at it and thinking, let's try and, nullify Kerry as much as possible, keep them out. Kerry obviously having a lot of the big boys not starting, David Clifford and whatnot. Sean O'Shea is in the team, to be fair, but there's no Paddy Clifford either. Just looking at Kerry's bench, they do have David Clifford, Paddy Clifford on the bench. So, I think it'd be one of them scenarios if Kerry need the win. If they hear that elsewhere Dublin are losing to Tyrone, they might, they might throw the lads on there. There was a poor enough effort there from, I think it was Dylan Casey. Shooting from in the Kerry-Galway game has actually been quite poor so far. A lot of chances dropping in. Here's going to be the Dublin goal. Ball out wide into Brian Fenton. Who gets the goal? It's probably Con, is it? It's Pascal. There we go. Lovely finish. Lovely finish there from a Dublin perspective. Calm Pascal. Great to see him back in the team and everything else. 1-5 to 3 points as it is there now. Tyrone do have a man down. Yeah, I do think TG Carr showed the wrong game because there seems to be a lot happening in the other games, but not much happening in the Kerry-Galway game by the looks of it. Let's have a look at how things are going in Derry-Roscommon. 1-3 apiece there. So I suppose it's like Galway are winning at the minute, so it would make that result irrelevant. But Roscommon, to be fair, who found themselves, 4 points down after that goal went in, they'll be very happy with their response, albeit a little bit of good fortune along the way. The Division 4 games are back underway. Laois are beating Waterford 5-12 to 5 points, so Laois are promoted. We can discount that. It's obviously not a good day from a Laois perspective. Leitrim currently beating Tipperary 9 points to 6 as well. So Leitrim, with the fact that Wexford are very comfortable against Longford, 2-12 to 2-4. So Longford have pulled a goal back. A long way to go. I mean, 8-point gap with about 25 minutes to go. Longford might pull it back, but I would be surprised if they did pull it back, in fairness. But yeah, as it stands, Leitrim are at a side that will be promoted from Division 4. Galway do have another point on the board, 4 points to 2 up now against Kerry. Paul Conroy's got the point there. So Galway 4 points to 2 up. So they're doing the business. They're doing what needs to be done against the men from the Kingdom. The Division 2 action, or Division 3 action, is just about thrown in as well. So we'll start updating that other score on the top right-hand side of your screen between Kerry and Clare and Down, I should say. Sorry, it's obviously on the TG Caher app. Probably wouldn't mind watching that, to be fair. Maybe we might switch it over if we can, but yeah, it's looking good from a Galway perspective. Like, they're very well set up. They have a lot of men behind the ball, like very defensive setup here, frustrating Kerry. I think Galway have probably looked at it and thought, there's no David Clifford, there's no Paddy Clifford. So if we set up deep, we have a lead, we can just absorb pressure and just try and hit them on the counter-attack and hit them with turnovers. And that's exactly what they've done here. They've turned the ball over again. So it's looking all good in terms of Dublin getting to the league final. They're obviously leading against Tyrone. So happy days there. Happy days there. We'll run through some comments here. Unicorn says, what are we watching the game on? I believe the Kerry-Galway game is on TG Caher. Pubble School says serious counter attack for Dubs goal. Yeah, from what I've seen of it there, the ball obviously played into Brian Fenton. And yeah, like a great ball into Con. He then offloads it into Con Pascal. A lovely goal there. And just looking at it, Dublin won 6, 3 points up now. So it's looking like Dublin are going to absolutely cruise through to the league final. And looking forward to the league final as well. I will be there, most certainly, as long as Dublin are there. May go to the final anyway, but here's Galway bursting forward with John Marr. Plays it back inside. This should be point number 5 for Galway, and it is. Lovely point from a Galway perspective. 5 points to 2 up. 3 points, 2 to good as well. And lovely bit of play from John Marr, and then popped over by Cathal Sweeney. So yeah, great point there for Galway. 3 points up now against Kerry. So it's looking like what happens in the Derry-Roscommon game potentially might be irrelevant as it stands. Kerry have just struggled really to get. They're struggling. Their shooting has just really let them down. I think that because they don't have the outlet of Clifford and everything else, they're struggling to sort of break through that blanket because Galway are very well set up defensively. They're forcing Kerry to shoot from distance, and you could say Kerry just don't have the players there, maybe without the Cliffords. We're just getting shot of a lovely point there from a Derry perspective. Don't actually know what the score is there, but let's have a look here. Derry-Roscommon 1-4 apiece. So yeah, it really is neck and neck between them two. Of course, like there is the slightest of chance that Derry could miss out on a league final if they lost, but that would only happen if Kerry gave Galway an absolute thumping. And as it stands, Kerry are losing obviously by 3 points, so you would expect that that will not happen. But yeah, 3 points to go. Anyone who's tuning in, if you could hit the like button, subscribe, and everything else, do plenty of match reviews and everything else. There will obviously be a review show reviewing all the games and everything tomorrow evening, so make sure to stay tuned for that. Galway are looking for the 6th point here, and they floated one in the square, but that's a good catch there from the Kerry goalkeeper, Stephen O'Brien, now coming out with the ball, picks out Sean O'Shea. Kerry need to move the ball quickly here now because this is the one opportunity where Galway don't have men set. But yeah, Kerry just look very lackadaisy, to be honest. I think there could be an argument maybe that they really aren't too bothered about this game. Because that's how it's looking so far anyway. Well, here's a chance for a point for Kerry, and that's a great point from Killian Spillane, who's been the man of the moment, in fairness. 2 points for Killian Spillane, so I think Kerry fans will be happy to see him back on the side, doing the business and everything else. 5 points to 3 up. Galway still looking pretty strong there as it looks. Just looking at the Monaghan Mayo game, 6 points to 1-3 so far there. Early stages in Down versus Clare. Down a goal and a point up there. So yeah, it's a great start there for Down. Of course, Clare have to win. They have to win to get promoted. And yeah, they've had a bit of a slow start there. Offaly losing to Limerick, 2 points to 1. Only 6 minutes in though. And Antrim 3 points to 0 up against Wicklow. So Antrim just need a draw to stay up, and that looks to be happening as it stands there. Here comes Killian Spillane again, drops it short. It's a poor enough effort. That could have been his 3rd point of the game. Doesn't happen. Wexford 2-14, Longford 2-5. So Wexford are looking very good there. We were getting a bit of a shot there of TG Carr, Noel Morgan with a point, popping it over the bar. Laois 5-14, Wexford 6 points with about 10 minutes to go there. And Leitrim 12 points to 8 up. So Leitrim are just about doing the business. But there is still about 20 minutes to go, in fairness, in either one of those games in Division 4. So, yeah, Kerry are definitely taking the game a bit more now to Galway. 2 point gap as it stands there. So there we are. Band says, sure, isn't Kerry heading away for a week's holiday training? They don't want to play the final. Yeah, I think they're heading to Portugal or something, aren't they? Dubs enjoy the final. Sure, you won't have any other competitive games for 3 months. Might as well enjoy it. Exactly. It is a fair point. It is a fair point because I think that's probably the difference with the likes of Dublin and Kerry going for a league final as opposed to Mayo and the Ulster sides. Dublin, with all due respect, they'll be playing either Meath or Longford, I think, in the quarterfinals of Leinster. Look, going away to Meath, going away to Navan, like that will be an interesting one, most certainly. But you would expect Dublin to win it, all day long. It would be Dublin to be the favourites, and you would expect Dublin to breeze through Leinster like they always do. Kerry have just started to narrow the gap ever so slightly. A couple of points on the spin, 1 point game now. So Roscommon will be watching this game ever so slightly, hoping that the men from the kingdom can do them a favour. Just looking at the score of the Derry-Roscommon game. Last time I checked, it was 1-4 apiece. If we look at things now, it's 1-6 to 1-5. So Derry are in good steads. There's a mark called by Paul Murphy. Decides to hit it straight away. That was a little bit silly. He had plenty of time there to hit that one, and he decided just to hit it straight away, and it was blocked. $5 points to 4 in favour of the men from the kingdom. Dublin are obviously looking very strong at the moment as well. Very comfortably up against Tyrone. There's been a card dished out here to Paul Gainey by the looks of things. It's a yellow card. Not entirely sure what for, but yeah, yellow card there for Paul Gainey. Yeah, good start for Down as well. Like a goal and a point up to 0 after a couple of minutes. So great start for them. Looking at a few comments. Fly in. Puggle School says Westmeath, decent this year. How many minutes in the first half? So 27 minutes into the Galway versus Kerry game. As it stands there, 1-6 to 1-5 is the score there. Dublin 1-8 to 4 points. So pretty comfortable looking there for Dublin. Westmeath 2 points to 1 up against Sligo. Of course, forgetting as well that Westmeath, look, they do need a win. They do need the victory. They need the points on the board, in fairness. But yeah, it's looking pretty comfortable for Dublin as it stands there. Derry in pole position, 1-6 to 1-5, and Dublin in pole position, of course, to get to the league final as well, 1-8 to 1-3 as it stands. Open All-Ireland needed, 32 counties, top 16 play for Sam isn't fair, right or good. The system we have at present needs changed. Yeah, look, I mean, I wouldn't be against that. I mean, the provincial championships are obviously very historic and everything else. So, I think if you ask most people in Leinster, they wouldn't mind for the championships to be scrapped. But if you ask most people in Ulster or Connacht, they would want they would want them to be kept around. So, whether you run the provincial championships at the start of the year, then run the league, top 16 in the league, go straight into an open knockout, I would be all for that. In all honesty, I think that would make things very good. And then the bottom 16 could go into the Tailteann Cup. Oliver says, what are the permutations for Rossies to stay up? So they need Galway to lose, which at the moment it's 5 points apiece. And then they also obviously need to beat Derry, and they're obviously a point down as it stands in that game, 1-6 to 1-5 as we update the score there. Dublin absolutely cruising as well. Wexford giving Longford a bit of a thumping. I'm going to check that, see what's going on there. Is there any sign of a Longford comeback? That doesn't seem to be. 10 minutes to go, 2-7 to 2-18 now. So Wexford are really putting it on against Longford. yeah, like long, as Longford fans would say, they had the opportunity. I mean, it is in Wexford, it is in Wexford Park, but yeah, they'd be very disappointed with how that game is going so far. Leitrim 4 points up still against Tipperary, 13 points to 9. So yeah, look, they're just about getting the job done, and imagine it's cagey enough for anyone who's watching that game in Park Sean McDermott. Galway and Kerry is currently level, 6 points apiece. Just looking at it there. Dara Roach with the point, so good point from him. There we go. Derry-Roscommon 1-6 to 1-5 still by the looks of things there. Dublin-Tyrone 1-8 to 5. Westmeath are currently beating Sligo by 2 points as well. Offaly losing to Limerick still, which is very surprising, but at the moment that won't make a difference in the context of things. We'll update the score now. 6 points apiece as things stand. In Killarney, Derry obviously went a narrow lead as well. So look, I think that's good because I want things to go down to the wire. I don't really want things to be finished, nice and early. There's no fun in that, is there? Obviously Dublin, to be fair, are putting Tyrone to the sword by the looks of things. Down 1-2, Clare with a goal. We do have a joining us here. Do we have you? Oh, we don't have you. Yeah, I shared the link in the chat as well. So if anyone wants to join, they can. I don't know, Michael, if you want to rejoin there. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. No idea. No idea what happened there, my man. But yeah, 1-6 to 1-5. Kerry leading Galway 7 points to 6 as well. So they're looking fairly strong, point up. Public School says Kerry hitting the groove. Absolutely, yeah. Kerry are looking good now, a point up. So look, that does Roscommon. That helps Roscommon, to be fair. Puts them in a good perspective. Banda says goal, Tyrone. Yeah, just looking at it here. Don't imagine this is what TG Cahara has shown us here. Great ball worked inside. Oh, it's a scrappy enough one, is it? Cleared on the line. I take it that wasn't the goal then, obviously. Maybe we're going to see the goal now, are we? Cleared on the line. But there was a goal somewhere. Maybe we're going to see it now. Certainly brings it back into it. So yeah, 2 points up for down, 1-2, 2 a goal. As it stands there, Kerry are obviously leading Galway as well. And here goes Killian Spillane again, who's been the main man for Kerry so far. And that is a lovely point over the bar there for Killian Spillane. 8 points to 6. It's actually not Killian. Oh no, it is Killian Spillane actually. Yeah, so that's another point from him. They're looking very, very good there. I wonder are we going to get a look at this goal now between Dublin and Tyrone. Just going to have a look actually. Was there a Tyrone goal? I'm actually having a look at it here. Doesn't seem to be doesn't on the app anyway. Like looking on Score Biota, doesn't seem to be an update of a goal. Still seems to be 110, 5 points. Cracking score from Darren McCurry. as he sells the Dublin defender, the dummy, and then slots the ball over off his right. RTE. Yeah, look, RTE, I wouldn't rely on them, you know. But there we go. Yeah, because we've seen, like, looking on TG card, there was an opportunity for a goal for Tyrone, but it looked like it was cleared on the line. It did look close now, so unless they gave it as a goal, I don't really know. But Derry leading by 2 points against Roscommon, 1-7 to 5 points there. So things are looking good as it stands. Some of the fans look like they might have been asleep there. Don't know what exactly was going on there, but yeah, Kerry are leading by 2 points, 8 points to 6. And looks like the TG Caher app has kicked us out as well, which is absolutely great. Oh no, we're back now. Half time, maybe that's why. So yeah, half time. Kerry 8 points to 6, up against Galway. So Kerry are doing their job. They just need, the men. Well, they don't really necessarily need anything, to be fair. They need Tyrone to obviously do a job for them if they want to get to that league final. But whether they want to get to that league final is hard to know. But Dublin are looking very comfortable as it stands against Tyrone. 110 to 5 points up there as the Kerry fans watch on in the rain. Yeah, no, I'm still looking here, and there doesn't appear to be a goal for Tyrone. I don't know. They must have wanted a goal, maybe. Westmeath 5 points to 2 up, looking good for them. Limerick leading Offaly, which I don't think really means anything in the spectrum of Division 3. Antrim are beating Wicklow. I think maybe if Wicklow were to win and Offaly were to lose, that would mean Offaly would go down, wouldn't it? So, yeah, Laois have given Waterford an absolute thumping, 5-16 to 9 points. A couple of minutes left to go there. Longford, unfortunately, looks like it's all said and done. Another goal for Dublin by the looks of things. Goal wasn't over the line. RT Sport have it wrong. Yeah, it looked like it was a close chance, and I'm not too sure who it was who cleared it on the line, but yeah, just looking at it here, Noel Scully with the goal. So 2-11 to 5 points. So Dublin are giving Tyrone an absolute baiting. Cruise control stuff there by the looks of things from a Dublin perspective, and yeah, long way to go for Tyrone. Long way home. Dublin are looking very, very good at the moment, aren't they? Very, very good. As good as they've looked in a long time, you know. So looking very, very good there from a Dublin perspective. 8 points to 6, obviously, in favour of Kerry, Derry-Roscommon. If we have a look, 1-8 to 1-5. So I suppose Derry have just started to pull away ever so slightly. They've just started to give themselves a chance. So yeah, I'd imagine Derry-Roscommon. I think that's half time, obviously, in that game as well. Monaghan, Mayo. Monaghan are leading by a point. Obviously, nothing really on the line there, in fairness. Down Clare. Down are still in front, 1-4 to 1-1. You wouldn't, you certainly wouldn't back against the men from the Banner County. They always find the way, don't they? Very often to find the way back into games. But yeah, we'll update scores now in just a brief moment. Just looking at the Leitrim Tipperary game. Leitrim 14 points to 9 up at 7 minutes to go. So it's looking like Leitrim are going to get promoted. Which, absolutely huge that for Mickey Graham, for Andy Moran in particular, who's obviously been there for a couple of years. And especially after losing to Longford a couple of weeks ago, they would have been very worried, going into the final round of fixtures. But yeah, half time in most of the Division 1 games anyway, by the looks of things. Dublin 2-11, Tyrone 5 points. Derry 1-8, Roscommon 1-5. Dublin 2-11, Tyrone 6 points. We have a visitor joining us here, Mr. Matthew Hurley. How are you? How's things?
Yeah, all good, Aaron. How are things with yourself?
Yeah, keeping well. How have you found the Division 1 or the National Football League action so far? Plenty of things happening up and down. I suppose Dublin are giving Tyrone an absolute thumping. It's looking like Leitrim are going to get promoted in Division 4 as well. How have you found everything so far?
Yeah, it's been an interesting afternoon, I guess. It looked like Galway were trying to pull away from Kerry and Killarney. Kerry pulled them back. Roscommon seemed to be showing a bit of fight today, which is unusual considering last weekend's performance from them. Dublin seemed to be pulling away as well. I've been keeping an eye on Monaghan and Mayo myself. I don't know why I've been working for an app there, and Monaghan actually had a guy sent off. They were in control of that game. They were a point up at half time, but Andrew Woods got sent off, so it might be under cautious small bit in the second half to try and get another win in Division 1. But other than that, yeah, it's been an interesting afternoon, but at the same time kind of predictable. But to be fair, TG Carr have really covered it really well in fairness. Yeah, there's been some interesting games. I haven't even had the chance to check Division 3 or check Division 4. And yeah, Leitrim, it looks like they're going up, isn't it? So I'm looking at Leitrim scored there 13 points 9. So yeah, Tip need a goal for Wexford to get back into it. But it's just unfortunate Wexford, isn't it? Like that's a brilliant win out today. And it looks like it's for nothing.
Yeah, it is. And like just looking at Leitrim there, they're 15 points to 9 up. Wexford 2-18 to 2-9. So going into the final couple of minutes. So yeah, absolute madness. Like Longford losing by 9 points. Like at one stage it was like 2-10 to 2 points in the first half, which was absolutely mental. So like you'd wonder what on earth has happened with Longford, because like they had, obviously gone away from home to Wexford, but they had this in the palm of their hands really after recent wins.
It is, yeah, and it was just like was it Longford? No, Wexford were at home, but at the same time, like you'd expect Longford to put up more of a challenge than they did, considering the players that they have. Wexford, fair play to them in fairness for having a good league campaign. Like 5 wins out of 7 would usually get you up, and unfortunately, this year for Wexford it isn't enough. Like even looking back over the last few weeks, Ryan Rourke getting that last bit of penalty. I don't know, was it controversial or anything? But if it was controversial, then Wexford might have a lot to say about that. But yeah, it's just unfortunate that it's the 1 year that Wexford, there's a bit of consistency there. They perform well. Ben Brosnan is hitting points from left, right, and centre. You have Sean Nolan doing well in the forward line there as well. There seems to be more of a tune out of Wexford football, and the 1 year that happens, they don't go up. So yeah, rob the promotion. Yeah. And it looks that way, it really does, unless Tip do something miraculous. I don't know, is Sean O'Connor actually on the pitch for Tipperary with 70 units now, so it looks very unlikely for Tip to pull it back. But I feel, terrible for Wexford in many ways, because it's the 1 year to perform well, and then look what happens.
Absolutely, yeah. Dublin is great. Since I did not know this was on. Unfortunately, there is issues with YouTube at the moment in terms of anyone who hits notifications or anything like that. But yeah, we are here anyway, and it is half time in all the games. Dublin leading Tyrone 2-11 to 6. Derry 1-8 to Roscommon to 1-5. Suppose while we have you, thoughts on Cork's draw with Armagh yesterday, 2-16 apiece. Suppose not a bad result. Like I was looking at the league table, Cork have finished third in the end. So I don't know how you've managed that.
Fourth, Aaron. I don't want to go up with fourth because we have an inferior head-to-head to Cavan. So we finished fourth. But yeah, it's a good league campaign. Like the Armagh game last night, kind of disappointed that we didn't go on and win it. Like the Rory Grugan goal, well taken by Rory Grugan, by the way. but it was avoidable from a Cork point of view. I think it was a ball dropped short by, I think it was Conor Turbis, dropped it short, and then Micheál Martin patted it out. Rory Rugen puts the ball in the back of the net. But positives, that we scored 2 goals. Armagh didn't score a goal up to this, concede a goal up to this point. And Chris O'Jones was the first guy in the league campaign to score a goal against Armagh, which was some achievement. Luke Fahey as well. And we could have won it at the end with a Stephen Sherlock effort. There was a lot of clips going around, I think, from the Southern Star in particular, put up a clip about Stephen Sherlock hitting the point. To be fair, it looked like it went wide. So, look, it's a fair result. And we'll move on to the next game now against Limerick in the Munster Championship. It ended up being a good enough league campaign, but I think the most disappointing thing is we produce good performances against the likes of Kildare, Meath. We should have beat Armagh, but then we lose to Cavan and Laois. It's just a Cork in a nutshell. And you just think back to those games. If we got something out of the Laois game, if we showed a bit of tactical nous against Cavan, we could have been in a better position and maybe even challenge Armagh and Donegal. But alas, wasn't to be. But even looking at next year now, as it stands, Roscommon and Monaghan are coming down in West League coming up. Good side, but they're beatable. So you'd imagine like Cork have to go up and be in contention to go up to Division 1 next season. But it was a disappointing league campaign just because of them 2 games in the middle. The Cavan and the Laois games were just absolute killers. And even look at the league and the landscape. Fermanagh were very unlucky. And looking back over the last few weeks, just think about it. If Mar Shanley didn't get that fist of the ball and put it in the back of the net, but in a journey a few weeks ago, we could have been talking about Cork or the relegation dogfight and Fermanagh staying up. So it's amazing how things can change. And what I'm on Fermanagh, I'm really, really sad for them, to be honest. Brilliant result last week against Cavan. But unfortunately, it just wasn't good enough. They finished on 5 points. It's just unfair as an hour finishing on 5 points, still going down. But look, that's the way the league goes. And I think Fermanagh will feel terrible after today, but yeah, that's just the way the league goes.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a comment here from Dublin is great. It says, what's the score in the Division 4 game? So yeah, just looking at it there, going into injury time, Leitrim 6 points up against Tipperary. Laois have given Waterford a bit of a bait in there, 5-19 to 9 points. 4 of those goals came inside the opening 20 minutes as well, so not too good from a Waterford perspective. And then Wexford, I think full time has blown in that game as well. So Wexford have beaten Longford 2-18 to 2-9. So I'm pretty sure that's the Division 4 picture wrapped up. Leitrim promoted. Congratulations to them. Disappointing from a Wexford point of view, but I think Wexford will have to go back to some results they got at the start of the league. A few disappointing results at the start. So ultimately, that's where it has gone wrong from a Wexford perspective. Carlow have beaten London 117 to 110 as well. Not that game really means that there, but just looking at Division 3, Down are beating Clare 1-5 to 1-2. Probably actually one of the biggest surprises so far is actually Limerick beating Offaly 6 points to 3. Looking at score BO, so that is a bit of a surprise. But as it stands, I don't think that result will mean that, because Antrim are beating Wicklow 7 points to 6. But yeah, Offaly losing to Limerick's a bit of a mad one.
It is. I didn't expect Limerick to come out and fight in this game, particularly with the Munster Championship coming up in the next 2 weeks. They play against Cork in Super Value Park in Cavan in 2 weeks' time. So you would expect Limerick to kind of maybe put their eggs into the basket for that one. But to be fair to them, they stood up today against Offaly. It looks like they'll get a good result there. But I don't know about the Antrim Wicklow game. It's a point in it at the moment, 31 minutes gone. I don't know, Wicklow could come back into that game. If Wicklow win that game, as it stands, Offaly are going down. So it could be, it's mad. It's a mad situation. It really is. Down winning by 4 points. I think they had a good start in that game. Westmeath, like they're put their pin at their collar there by Sligo. So yeah, some interesting result and score lines in Division 3 at the moment. And it's interesting score lines up and down divisions like Leitrim to go up in Division 4. You did call it the start of the year, so fair play. But Leitrim are just this annoying team, to be honest with you. The 1 year you predict them to go up, they don't, and then when you don't predict them to go up, they do. So, it's just annoying at this stage. But look, Leitrim, fair play to them for going up, and Wexford again would be feeling absolutely sick over this.
Absolutely, yeah. Keane says up Leitrim promoted. Look, I'd say you're delighted to see Leitrim get promoted. And obviously back in Division 3. not to burst any bubbles, but how do you reckon they get on in Division 3 next year? Obviously, a long way to go. I mean, it'd be tough for them to probably stay up, but how do you reckon they'd get on in there?
Honestly, I think they might even go straight back down now. I think Laois will probably stay up. They have more of a, they're kind of more ready-made for Division 3 than Leitrim are. Like Leitrim had some weird results in this league campaign as well. I know they beat Laois, but they ended up losing some games that they could have won on any other day. They lost to Carlow, they lost to Longford, games that you would normally think a side should win to stay in Division 3. So I think it could be just 1 year too soon for them. A bit like Wicklow this season. They'll go, well, as it stands right now, I think they'll probably go straight back down, but we'll have to see next year, I suppose.
Absolutely, yeah. A2 says we'd all be wealthy if we bet the opposite of who you predicted. Yeah, look, I mean, to be fair, I did get the Leitrim prediction right, just about. You know, a lot of luck maybe along the way in terms of that happening, and definitely at points it didn't look like it was going to happen, but yeah, Leitrim getting over the line there. In fairness, there we go. Bandit says Fermanagh playing some good football, very unlucky to go down. And Aidan says, did the Tyrone goal count? Yeah, there does seem to be some confusion in the Dublin-Tyrone game because RTE, I think, reported there was a goal, but on the replay of that TG Carr showed us, it looked like the ball was cleared on the line. So I don't think the goal did count. I don't know if there was if it did go over the line or, yeah, it didn't look like from the replays. It didn't look like it went over the line anyway. So yeah, but yeah, Dublin are absolutely cruising. In fairness, 2-11 to 6 points. So looking fairly strong there. In terms of Kerry-Galway, Derry-Roscommon, I mean, it's still neck and neck there. Like, always started very well, but it's probably looking like Roscommon, I don't know, like it'd be tough for them to turn it around, like 3 points down to Derry.
Yeah, and at the same time, Galway are performing very well against Kerry, even watching the screen there. So yeah, I think it'll take a Trojan of effort really for Roscommon to stay up. But at the same time, like Galway have a tendency of dropping the ball. We'll have to see how it transfers now in the second half. But I think they're coming back out for the second half. So yeah, it was a brilliant chat, Aaron, and maybe I'll chat to you after the games. But hopefully it's a intense kind of last few minutes of these games because the league always kind of offers it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no. Cheers for jumping on, and yeah, we'll chat to you full time if you are about. And yeah, absolutely. Hopefully there'll be a bit more action to discuss and everything else.
No bother. Thanks.
Grants, no bother. Sound match you. So yeah, we're about to get into the second half of all the games. Ball thrown in for Derry and Roscommon. 1-8 to 1-5 is the score there. Conor Glass going long straight away for the throw in down. 1-7. Clare 1-4. So Clare keeping within touch and distance, but look, there's still there's still a bit of a gap there for down, in fairness. And yeah, it was full time in the Division 4 games as well. So Wexford beat Longford 2-18 to 2-9, and Leitrim beat Tipperary 15 to 9 points. So absolutely huge there for both of those two sides. Just looking at it, yeah, full time 2-18, 2-9 for Wexford, and we know Leitrim were promoted, but I'm just going to double check the full time score so it's correct. Yeah, 15 points to 9. And Laois were promoted as well, 5-19 to 9 points. So 25-point win there for Laois. So very, very comfortable. Very, very comfortable. What's the score in the Dubs game? Dublin 2-11, Tyrone 6 points. So Dublin are looking, Dublin are very much through to that league final now at this stage. Like, what's that? An 11-point gap at half-time, and probably very reminiscent of the Dublin-Kerry game in Croke Park a couple of weeks ago as well. Just looking at Kerry-Galway, Sean O'Shea is a chance here from not too sure if it was a 45 or a free, but it's in around the 45-metre line. We've seen Sean O'Shea bury these on more than one occasion, and he looks to have scored that one as well. So Kerry have a 3-point lead against Galway, 9 points to 6. hopefully we get a bit, like some mad stuff happening or something. Roscommon can go and do something magical or something, just so we get something to jump around about, because it probably has been a very predictable final day so far. A lot of things very much going according to plan and everything else. Just a reminder as well, you'll see in the comment section the lines are open, so if anyone wants to jump on, completely feel free. I know a few people tried to join earlier, but there was probably a few technical issues, so feel free to jump on for a few minutes and have your say on today's games. Dublin 2-11, 6 points. Kerry, just looking at it there, I think the Kerry was that on a point for Sean O'Shea? It looked like the umpires waved the flag, but they haven't updated the score. Maybe not. Maybe I'm seeing things. But looking good from a Dublin perspective. Colin Basquel with the goal. Noel Scully getting on the score sheet as well. If we just look at who's been on the score sheet from a Dublin perspective, Con O'Callaghan with 2 points, Killian McGuinness with 2 points, Ross McGarry with 3, Colin Basquel 1-3. It's mad. Like, Dublin's depth at the minute is absolutely off the charts. Like, when you look at it, there's no you've no Paul Mannion, no Jack McCaffrey, no James McCarthy. Like, so many players not in Dublin starting 15, and yet they're giving Tyrone a fair bait. And to be fair to Tyrone, like, looking at their team, like, Dara Canavan hasn't started, so that's obviously a big miss for them. He's on the bench, so you probably do get the impression that Tyrone, probably not really, I suppose, fully committed to this game, obviously without Dara Canavan, but there are still, some other big players and everything else. It is still 8 points to 6 to Kerry. Sean O'Shea must have hit that effort wide. It looked like it was over, but still wide by the looks of things. 8 points to 6. Ball gets played inside. A chance here for Killian Spillane. Derry-Roscommon currently 1-8 to 1-6. So Roscommon have pulled a point back there, which, look, I mean, if Roscommon can just find something within themselves, especially going into the final 15, 20 minutes, like, I think Roscommon will be fairly happy if it's only 1 or 2 points going into the final 10, 15 minutes. That way, I think they'll be fairly content, because Derry will probably start rotating players and everything else, because, with the way things are going, they don't need to win this game. Dara Canavan not on the pitch tells you all need to know about Tyrone's interest. Yeah, look, surprising they didn't play him as well at Croke Park. It would have been a good read to see how he would have got on against that Dublin defence. But obviously they had other ideas. Sean O'Shea has now scored. So this one has gone over. So it is 9 points to 6. So 3-point gap for Kerry as it stands there. Down currently looking good against Clare. Yeah, 1-7 to 1-4 in favour of Down. Antrim and Wicklow. Antrim have got a big goal from Rory McCann. So it's looking like Antrim might just be able to turn things around there. Awfully still losing to Limerick. But as it stands, that won't matter. I think we're just approaching half-time. Or we are. It is half-time during those games, I'm pretty sure. Here's O'Correen. It's a difficult effort. Good bit wide of the target. He's a great player, Killian O'Correen, isn't he? He's a very, very talented footballer. Westmeath currently beating Sligo 6 points to 4 as well. As things would stand, that result wouldn't matter because Down are beating Clare, but Westmeath are doing their part. And Down 1-7 to 1-4 up. So yeah, probably not a lot to report so far in the second half. It seems like a lot of the games are quite cagey and everything else. Dublin 2-12 to 6 points up. Conor O'Callaghan has got Dublin's first point of the second half by the looks of things there. Still a long way to go. Long way to go. Half an hour left in the game. Kerry are just controlling the game by the looks of things now, keeping the ball. They haven't brought on any more key players by the looks of things. Yeah, anyone who's tuning in, if you could hit the like button and subscribe, that would be much appreciated. Plenty of more shows and everything else to come soon. There'll be a review show tomorrow, most certainly, to break down all the weekend's games and everything else. Kerry just playing keep ball. And here is that ball over the bar. Is that going to be point number 10 for Kerry? Wide from Dara Roach. Looking at Monaghan Mayo, 9 points to 1-4. Not that game matters, but Andrew Woods, interesting enough, was sent off after 23 minutes. Monaghan are still in front, though. Derry-Roscommon, 1-9 to 1-8 now. So Roscommon are starting to maybe just starting to pull it back a little bit. 1 point game. We haven't had any updates from TG Cahir in terms of split screen and showing us a bit more of the Derry-Roscommon game, but 1 point gap. Galway are very defensive here. Like they're playing like they were in the first half when they had that lead. And they are losing, and they're losing by 4 points now. It's a 4 point gap now. So like Galway just needs to come out of their shell a little bit more. I know obviously Derry are still beating Roscommon, but there's only a point in that game. So German Murtha with a couple of points at the start of the second half. And the Smiths, they actually got level Roscommon, and then Noel Toner scored. So yeah, it's only a 1 point game. If anyone's interested to know how I'm keeping up to date with all the scores and everything else, I am looking at the Scorebio app. I do have a few reports open here as well, just to double check everything is correct. But great effort there from Paul Gainey. Pops it over the bar. Looked like he tried to catch the keeper a little bit, maybe off his line. But Kerry 5 points up now against Galway. So yeah, it's looking good. It's looking good from a Kerry perspective. Obviously, Dublin are comfortable against Tyrone right now. So, like, Dublin will be in that league final by the looks of things. But yeah, 2-13 to 6 now in favour of Dublin. So it's very comfortable now from a Dublin perspective. Kerry are looking good. Like, Kerry just keep winning the kickouts. Galway just keep losing the ball. And Galway seem contempt here. Like, they have a lot of men behind the ball. They're not really aggressive enough in their tackles. And yeah, Kerry just look very, very comfortable there. Especially after, 45 minutes. But yeah, I think that, you nearly say to TG Cahir, can you just turn it over to the Derry-Roscommon game, because clearly that's where it's at. Derry are 2 points up now, 110 to 1-8. Ethan Doherty's got on the score sheet there. So yeah, it really is neck and neck, 2 point 2-point deficit. Kerry have won the ball from a resulting Galway kick out once again. They must have had at least 6, 7 or 8 turnovers in a row here. Galway haven't scored at the start of the second half. They've barely even looked like scoring as well. Kerry have been, it's been an absolute, very, very comfortable in the second half. Looking at Kerry as well, 5 of their forwards have all scored. Sean O'Shea with 3, Dara Roach with a point, Killian Spillane with 3, Stephen O'Brien with a point, Paul Gainey with a point as well. Joe Connor's got on the score sheet from midfield. So it's the cornerback as well, Armin Henrik. I don't know who he is, to be honest with you, but he's got on the score sheet as well, so fair play. Can you give me a score update? Says Dublin is great. Yeah, it's Dublin 2-13, Tyrone 6 points. So Dublin are looking good for a league final. Kerry are leading Galway 11 points to 6. Derry are leading Roscommon 1-9 to 1-8. Last time I checked up down Clare in Division 3, it was 1-7 to 1-4 in favour of Down, but let me just haven't checked that in a while, so let me just check that again. Yeah, it's half time there actually, I think. So it's still 1-7 to 1-4. And looking at some of the other games, Antrim 1-7 to 6 against Wicklow at half time, and Limerick are beating Offaly 6 points to 4 at half time there as well. So yeah, Antrim are looking like they're going to stay up. Still a long way to go though. Galway, is that their first point of the second half? It is. It's a fine point as well. Johnny Heaney, I think it is. Really well taken outside of the boot. Close enough to goal. But good score there from Johnny Heaney. So Galway reduced the gap to 4 points. Dublin versus Tyrone. There's been another goal there for Dublin by the looks of things. Cian Murphy, I think, has got the goal. Aidan says Dublin goal, yeah. And Dublin's graces, will he stay on for the hurling? I probably won't, because after 2 hours or so of doing this, I'll need to get some fresh air or something. But I certainly will watch the game, no doubt about it. May do a reaction after the match. Clare Tipperary, isn't it? So it should be a good game. Another goal for Dublin. So absolutely steam rolling Tyrone 3-13 to 6 points. Not a good look for Tyrone, really. Like, you can accept getting beat, but to be absolutely trashed. And yes, you might say Tyrone don't have Dara Cavan starting, but look, Dublin are missing players. Dublin don't have players there as well. Like, they don't have Paul Mannion, don't have James McCarthy, Cluxton. Looking at Tyrone starting 15, Darren McCurry's there, Cathal McShane is there, Joe Goose, Connor Cush, Rory Canavan, Kieran McGeary. There is Noel Morgan's playing. Absolutely romping at the bit. I don't know what's going on with TG Carr. They're not showing us what's happening in the other games anymore, which is a little bit disappointing. Oh, what's the Galway keeper doing here? He's way off his line. But Kerry are popping that one over the bar. Paddy Clifford, who's come off the bench, has popped that one over the bar. I don't know what the Galway keeper was doing there. That's like when you play FIFA and you press Y by accident and you drag the keeper out. No idea what he was doing, but Paddy Clifford pops the ball over the bar anyway. So there we go. I think we're going to see... Oh, it's a 4th goal for Dublin. Another goal. I don't know which goal we're having a look at here, but Kieran Kilkenny. Dublin working the ball inside. Brian Fenton. Ball out wide. Oh, look at that for football. Is that James McCarthy who's come on? I think it is it? Or is it Jack McCaffrey? I think it's Basquel actually again. Basquel again. Wow. Dublin 4-13. Tyrone 6 points. I mean, this is Leinster Championship stuff. Actually, that's disrespectful to Leinster. yeah, look, Tyrone won't lose any sleep over it. Fully enough, the last time Tyrone probably received a similar battering towards the end of the league was actually 2021 against Kerry. And we all know what happened there, but Tyrone just have this in their locker, don't they? They've turned into Mayo since 2022. Yeah, look, like I can't remember the last time Tyrone have put a run of 3 or 4 wins against good, top sides, or even in general, really. Like they haven't been able to build any consistency whatsoever in, since they won that All Ireland in 2021. Like no one's doubting the players that they have. They have great players in Dara Canavan, in Darren McCurry, but they've been absolutely cut apart there. Like 19 points is the gap between Dublin and Tyrone. So look, there's absolutely no doubt about it now. Dublin will be in that league final. And it's, Derry will be there as well. 111 to 1-8. I mean, unless Kerry were to absolutely thump Galway and Roscommon were to come back and beat Derry, and Kerry are putting it on Galway a little bit here now, to be fair. They've just knocked another one over. So 13 to 7 is the scoreline there. So it's, Kerry are absolutely, they're putting a bit of a baiting on Galway here. And to be fair to Galway, like I feel like Galway are just relying on Derry. It's a 3-point gap in that game. 111 to 1-8 is the score. So yeah, 17 minutes to go, 53 minutes on the clock in Kerry-Galway. Same, give or take, and obviously all the other games as well. They all threw in at the same time, barring the Division 3 games. Second half should be just starting in those matches now as well. Kerry are going long ball inside. Referee not going to call anything. Galway just seem very content with losing this game, which is a bit of a worry really, because Roscommon could still pull that back. They could still pull it back. It's a 3-point gap. Aidan says Dubs' 5th goal. Wow, Lorcan O'Dell. Goodness me. I'm kind of thinking maybe I should have gone now. Maybe I should have gone to the game, but I suppose I wouldn't have been able to do this stream if I had went. But wow, yeah. 5-13. Derry 112, Roscommon 1-8. We're just kind of looking at it on TG Carr here now. Shane McGuigan with a nice little point there, but it looks of things. 4-point gap. Roscommon pulled it back level, and Derry have gone on to hit 4 on the bounce. So it's not looking good there from a Tyrone perspective. Dublin's just frustrated. Both top Ulster teams this year haven't played full teams against them. Yeah, look, but I don't think Dublin are playing their full team either, Dublin still have Paul Mannion to come back in, James McCarthy, Paul Mannion, there's still a lot of big players to come back in for Dublin. Sean Bugler, who didn't start today. Killian O'Gara started the last day, didn't start today. McFitzsimon still has to come back in. Owen Merchant, well, I suppose he's actually in the team. So, there's still a lot of players missing for, Dublin. And even at that, Dublin's goalkeeper is actually their third choice. Because David O'Hanlon isn't playing, but it looks of things, it's Evan Comerford playing. So, that way. So, Dublin have been missing. Maybe because Dublin have been winning very comfortably. That way, but there we are. Almost worried at how well we're playing at this point in the season. It's nearly too easy. Yeah, I do get you a little bit. It's a bit of I don't think the complacency can exist in this Dublin team. But, they're going to go into the Leinster Championship. They're probably going to win every game pretty comfortably there as well. Like you do want a bit like, but to be fair though, Dublin have had tests this year. They have like, if it's not like they've won every game, like they lost games at the start of the league. So, you know, there is something there. Like, I do get your point though. Ray says, subscribe. You deserve more fame. Any women in Dublin mad for GEA? First of all, yeah, appreciate the subscription and the nice comments. Yeah, look, I'm sure there's plenty of yeah, look, I mean, you know, like everyone's mad in Dublin for GEA. You know, GEA fans of all backgrounds, all races, all genders are all into GEA, which is great to see. Dublin is great. Says, thanks for not going to the Dubs game. Yeah, no bother. Just looking at it there, was there a fifth goal for Dublin? Because I'm looking at it on Scorebio and it doesn't seem to be coming in there. So I don't know if that was another RTE blunder there, or maybe a disallowed goal or something like that. I'm not entirely sure. Still seems to be 4-13 by the looks of things. Down 1-7, Clare 1-5. 1-8, 1-5 now. Antrim, Wicklow. 1-9-8. So it's looking like Wicklow are going to go down by the looks of things. Unfortunately, there from a Wicklow perspective, 13 points to 8 in. Looks like Galway are going for this a bit more now. Rory Cunningham there getting a few pushes left, right, and centre. Interesting enough, Sligo are beating Westmeath 7 points to 6. Now, as it stands, that won't matter. But Down are beating Clare. 10 says Dublin goal. Yeah, 5. Yeah, maybe it just hasn't updated here for me. There's probably too many goals to keep up to date with. But there we go. Yeah, 13 points to 8 for Kerry. Awfully losing to Limerick still, which is a little bit mental. Don't know what the referee is doing here, but Monaghan are beating Mayo 13 points to 1-9. Derry are now 114 to 1-8 up against Roscommon. I think Roscommon are gone, lads. I think they're gone. And it's a shame because Roscommon had got back level. They'd hit a couple on the bounce, and Derry have now hit 6 on the bounce. Just looking at it there, yeah, I can see the 5th goal now. 5-14, Lorcan O'Dell. 5-14 to 9. That is that's not bad at all. Not so good from a Tyrone perspective. I know the narrative will come out that Tyrone we're not interested or whatever, and that's fair enough, but there's been not interested, but there's also losing by 20 points as it stands there. You know, like that's a big gap. You know, so and considering like Darren McCurry's still there no more, it's not a completely unchanged Tyrone side. But there we go. Yeah, still 13 points to 8 in favour of Kerry here. Dublin are just looking very, very strong. Lorcan out there. And the thing is as well, it's the fringe players that seem to be doing really well for Dublin. Like Lorcan O'Dell getting a goal. Colin Basquel, obviously, you know, I know he was a regular starter in the championship last year, but he's just come back in. Ross McGarry's looking very good. So Dublin are looking very, very strong. Very, very strong at the minute. Dublin is great, says you're great at describing the games. Yeah, no problem. Thank you very much. I mean, it's a bit tricky at the moment because I'm only watching the one game. So I'm trying to keep up to date with everything. But yeah, just looking at TG Cahard. Something happened there in Derry-Roscommon. Long ball was floated in by one of the Roscommon players, gathered by Oren Lynch, but nothing happened. Yeah, Derry are 7 up now against Roscommon. So it's just It's a shame, really, because you want a bit of excitement. You want something that, it's one of the things I love about the final day of the league. You get excitement and loads of mad things happen, but this just looks like it's plain sailing, really. It doesn't really look like anything's going to happen here. Unless Division 3 gives us something, but doesn't quite seem to be looking that way. Like Down or 3 up against Clare. I wonder, is there a way I can watch that game on this? I don't know if there is, but yeah. 10 Crimes says, love the show. Yeah, much appreciated. Much appreciated. Thank you for tuning in, and likewise for anyone else who has tuned in as well. And Derry have just got a second goal there, so game over. Roscommon are down. That's a lovely goal as well. 2-15 to 1-8. Roscommon have gone down the other end and got a point, but it's too little too late, I'm afraid, there for the men from Roscommon. Who's got the goal? I don't know who's got the goal as of yet, but we'll let you know when we find out. 2-15 for Derry, 1-8 for Roscommon, so 10 points with 7 minutes to go. So there we are. Galway are now coming down the other end with John Marr. That looks to be a foul. Referee hasn't seen it or hasn't given it. Looked to be a push on the back of John Marr there, but referee, yeah. Bernard says that's a bad battering for Tyrone. Sounds like men against boys. Yeah, it is. And absolutely is. What channel's showing the Derry game or the Tyrone game? They're not being shown anywhere, unfortunately, which I don't really understand, to be honest with you. It's the Kerry-Galway and Down Clare games that are on. Down Clare game is on the app, which is a shame, really, because the Kerry-Galway game has been a bit of a brutal game, to be honest with you. 13 points to 8. Really not a lot going on. Yeah, it's just been. It feels like both sides are quite happy here. I think maybe word has come into Pádraig Joyce. Maybe he knows of what's going on at Celtic Park, because Derry are giving Roscommon an absolute thumping there. So yeah. Kerry have just got themselves another point. David Clifford has come on and got on the score sheet. So Kerry, 6 points to the good. They're looking like they're going to win this game. Dublin are giving Tyrone a fair beating as well, by the looks of things. 5-14 to 9 last time I checked. Has there been a sixth goal? No. We want 6, as the Dublin fans say. It is 5-15 to 9 though. Kerry are going now, looking for a goal themselves, and they might maybe just get one. 45, good save from the Galway keeper. It was Gavin White. It's a ball played in. It kind of just bounced around everywhere. Eventually found its way to Gavin White. Hits it on the ground. And it was actually a block from a Galway defender there. So there we have it. Just Greed says, haven't seen anything. What's up with Tyrone? Are they just not interested in this game? Yeah, I've honestly no idea, to be honest with you, because the game isn't being shown on TV. So I'm just looking at the TG Car updates that are coming in. Looking at their team on Scorpio, like they don't have Dara Canavan starting, but like Rory Canavan started, Darren McCurry started, Colin McShane is in there. Okay, their midfield, or Brian Kennedy's in there. Kieran McGeary. Noel Morgan, Noel Devlin's there, and fair play to him for playing again after everything that's happened with him in recent weeks. So fair play to him. Kieran Daly's come off the bench. I mean, there's a few players not playing. Like obviously, Dara Canavan's on the bench, Matty Donnelly's on the bench, Kieran Daly's on the bench, but like at the same time, like Dublin have Sean Bugler, John Small, Paul Mannion, David O'Hanlon, James McCarthy, Mick Fitzsimons, Stephen Cluxton, all not playing as well. So, Dublin's depth of their panel is just obviously significantly stronger, unfortunately, than Tyrone right now. Shane says Tyrone, Kerry moving the ball quicker today. We have to take this into championship. Yeah, they've looked very good in the second half, in fairness. A little bit of a slow start, but they really have kicked into gear, it must be said, in the second half. Just looking at Down versus Clare, 110 to 1-5. So it's just looking like everything's kind of petering out, really. Doesn't look like there's going to be any significant changes from I think the biggest maybe surprise was Longford getting bet very comfortably by Wexford. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, I think that's been the biggest the biggest disappointment maybe from a Longford perspective. Sligo and Westmeath is 9 points apiece, which maybe is a bit of a surprise. Albeit really nothing to Westmeath should be promoted there. Oh, there's been a mistake here from the Kerry goalkeeper. Galway have a chance, and Galway have a goal. It's come out of absolutely nowhere there. Looked to be a mistake from the Kerry goalkeeper. He plays it short. They get caught. Johnny Heaney intercepts the ball. It breaks to Rob Finnerty. And he then sets up Tom O'Clahan, I think it is, who buries the ball into the back of the net. Lovely goal there from Tom O'Clahan. I remember him from the under-20 final a couple of years ago. Nice to see him getting a run out for Galway. So yeah, 3-point game. 3-point game. Galway pulled it back ever so slightly. I mean, it's not going to mean anything essentially because Roscommon are getting beat fairly comfortably. So, nothing's going to really change. But Galway aren't to know that, to be fair. And, I don't know, Porrick Joyce probably hasn't told the lads maybe so that they keep at it. But here's David Clifford. He's turned his man inside and out. Vintage David Clifford stuff. But then he keeps the ball. So there we go. And here we are. Yeah, so that's the latest scores anyway, but it looks of things. Looking at a few. Monaghan are going to beat Dublin and Mayo. Mayo and go down. Brutal league. Yeah, look, it's certainly not good from a Monaghan perspective, but, unfortunately, they didn't get enough points on the board in the other games. I think what's disappointing maybe from a Monaghan perspective is the performance against Roscommon. They got absolutely hammered in that game. I think Monaghan, whatever you say, Monaghan, Roscommon, maybe not a lot of difference between the two teams, but Monaghan shouldn't be getting beat by 11 points against Roscommon. That shouldn't happen. Noel Morgan's just scored a point from play. That's a lovely score in fairness. 5-15 to 10 now. Comeback is on. Yeah, it's looking like everything's just going to peter out the way we expected it. Sligo are beating Westmeath, which, to be fair, is a bit of a surprise, but I don't think it's going to mean that in the grand scheme of things. Our Clare, oh God, down are 3-10 to 1-5 up now. So that's that one over, unfortunately, for Clare. The hopes of promotion are over. You think back, though, to that game in, between Clare and Westmeath, the square ball incident. I don't know if anyone's seen that towards the end of the game, but Clare maybe will feel harshly done by it. It's a lovely point by Paul Conroy, who's brought it back to a 2-point game. Can Galway have a late flurry and maybe get something from this? But there we go. Yeah, it's suppose maybe not been the most exciting final days in comparison to previous years. I feel like everything has kind of gone as we expected it. But then again, Roscommon coming up against a very good side in Derry, Galway coming up against Kerry. I think we expected Dublin to be Tyrone down our home to Clare, in fairness, as well. So Morgan just scored a good point for Tyrone. He did, yeah. TG Caher showed us that one. I'm glad to see the demise of Tyrone as a Derry man. I'm sure you are. Roscommon deserves to go down and not good enough. Only one win against Monaghan. And actually, as it stands, Roscommon are actually going to finish bottom, and Monaghan are going to finish second from bottom, I believe. I'm just looking at the Monaghan-Mayo game. Well, actually, Mayo are winning that game. I'm just looking at it here. Matthew Ruana's got a goal, so yeah, Mayo are winning 2-13 to 1-14. So there you go. Just heading into the final minute of the game here between Kerry and Galway, 15 points to 110. It's looking like Galway are going to come through the game, or Kerry are going to come through and win it. How's the relegation battle looking in Division 3? Let's see how things are looking in regards to that. Do we have anything interesting to report between Antrim and Wicklow? There's only 3 points in that, so at least maybe there might be something in the distance there. A2 says all not well on Roscommon. Davy Burke will be Kildare manager by next season. Yeah, look, it could happen. But to be fair, I reckon they'll stick with Davy Burke. I was going to say Davy Roscommon there, but yeah, Davy Burke. I think it depends on the championship now, though. I think it depends on how the championship goes. But in saying that, Roscommon definitely made progress last year. So I don't think you rip up the book and Davy Burke leaves. So. But it depends on the championship, in fairness. A bit of handbags by Kerry. A few yellow cards being dished out there towards the end. Rossi's in shambles right now. Yeah, Rossi's are not looking good. I haven't actually checked the score of that game in the last couple of minutes, but unless something miraculously happens, Galway nearly got a goal there. They're jumping around. They're shouting for a penalty. It looks to me like Galway obviously don't know what's happening in the Derry-Roscommon game because they're going full tilt here. It's the Galway keeper who nearly got something on that. Conor Gleeson. I know. I think the final whistle has gone by the looks of things there. So Kerry have won against Galway. Joe O'Connor has won man of the match according to TG Caher. So very, very good stuff from him. It finishes 15 points to 110. Derry are 219 to 19 up. Jesus, they have absolutely pulled away. Roscommon, I think, Roscommon have scored 1 point since the 42nd minute. I mean, that is talk about going out with a whimper. Monaghan might have been relegated sooner and Roscommon might have beaten Monaghan, but I think you'd rather be Monaghan. Well, to be fair, Monaghan are actually losing as well, aren't they, against Mayo? But you'd rather go out like Monaghan have, where they haven't, it's not like they've been absolutely battered. It is full time in that game as well. Mayo have beaten Monaghan. A couple of, a late goal from Matthew Rowan, Ryan O'Donoghue, Padraig O'Hara getting on the score sheet as well. So they left it late, but they did enough to get over the line. So there we have it. Roscommon are down. Roscommon will go down to Division 2 for next season. And Galway stay up. Despite the loss, it won't mean anything in the end. Kerry have beaten Galway, but that won't mean anything either because Dublin have beaten Tyrone 5-17 to 12. I don't think the full-time whistle has actually gone in that game just yet, but an absolute demolition job by Dublin. 20 points is the margin there between Dublin and Tyrone. So, yeah, what an absolute battering they have given Tyrone. A lot of one-sided games, by the way, today. Like Wexford beating Longford very convincingly, 218 to 2-9. Derry have, are 13 points up against Roscommon. Dublin absolutely hammering Tyrone. Down are giving Clare a fair beating as well. Actually, a little bit disappointing. Normally in the league, games go right down to the wire and they're neck and neck and everything else, but that doesn't seem to be the case today, unfortunately, which is a little bit disappointing. But there we go. So yeah, I guess we'll stay on until the end of the Division 3 games anyway. Matthew might join us again at some point. We'll see what happens. The Dubs look like the finished article, like a well-oiled machine. Yeah, and it's crazy as well because Dublin looks so good. And you still have like James McCarthy, Mick Fitzsimons, but do they even come back in? I don't know if they do, Derry relegated Roscommon. They did. Derry Abu. Great day. Derry Dublin in the league final as well. A2 says Roscommon lads downing tools. Burke won't be there next season. Going out and doing a Davy Fitz after games probably didn't do him any favours. Be very interested to see what Davy Burke says at full time now because, Roscommon were level in the second half. They got level in the second half. It was 1-8 to 1-8 at one stage in the game because I remember looking at it and I remember updating the score. And since then, Derry have outscored Roscommon, 111 to a point? I mean, that is pretty grim, That is pretty grim. That was the worst last day ever, says Dublin is great. Yeah, not great, unfortunately, but there we go. 5-18 to 12, I think it finished in the Dublin game. It was full time in the Derry game as well, so absolutely brilliant stuff there from Dublin. 5-18 to 12, 21 points. They have beaten Tyrone. Look at Dublin's score difference as well. We'll probably look at the league tables in a moment if we can get them live. But Dublin plus 49 in terms of, to be fair, Derry are plus 38. But there we go. I think what I might do is I might try and see, is there any way here that that I can get the Clare game up? But to be fair, the Clare game, Down are absolutely battering Clare as well. So there's nothing really going on there either, unfortunately. Gary says, how did Mayo end up? Mayo won the game. There was a late goal from Matthew Rowan, I believe. A couple of late points as well. So, yeah, Mayo won the game, but look, they're not in the league final, so it's probably the best case scenario, in fairness, from a Mayo perspective. Just looking back through the Down versus Clare game, 3-11 to 1-6. So with about 10 minutes to go there, it looks all but over. I think Antrim Wicklow is probably the only game that's still in the balance. But even at that, it's 3 points, 3-point difference. So yeah, looking good for Down. They're going to get promoted. I think most people expected them to get over the line against Clare as well. Albeit, I think on the preview show, I predicted a draw and Seamus Brady predicted a Clare win. So there we go. More classic wrong predictions by myself and guests. So yeah, there we go. Brilliant stuff. But yeah, BMW Racing says, thanks for your stream, was very entertaining. Absolutely, no problem at all. And yeah, if people could subscribe and everything else, that'd be great. We'll certainly be doing more watch-alongs and everything else for more games and everything else, especially when the championship comes around. But yeah, I don't know if there's a way to get the Clare game on here, unfortunately, but I suppose we'll just have to watch the stuff. A2 says, proper Jeff Stelling shift today, mate. Well done. Yeah, no, appreciate it. In fairness, trying to cover 6 games, keep up to date with all the scores. So yeah, B says, are you watching the Clare game live? I think it's on the app, isn't it? So maybe I'm trying to watch it off of the PC. I basically dug up an old monitor here to try and watch the games and do this at the same time. But yeah, I do have the Down and Clare game on here, so we'll watch the last 6 minutes on the L mobile device. 3-12 to 1-6. I mean, to be fair, there's really nothing to watch. Like it's kind of already game over, isn't it? Game over, job done. They're Down are promoted. Like they're not. How many points up are they? 12 points up with 5 minutes to go. So it's pretty much game set and match. Cheers very much, Kieran. Much appreciated. Yeah, we'll definitely do more of these, and hopefully next year when I do one of these for the final game of the league or whatever, hopefully it's there's a bit more to report and everything else. I think the Antrim Wicklow game now is the one I'm most trying to keep an eye on, just to see can Wicklow, can the neighbours, the nice neighbours as I like to call them. It is a 2-point gap though, so Wicklow are closing in. They're closing in. It's a shame we can't watch that game. Sligo Westmeath. Sligo have beaten Westmeath, 113 to 9 points. Wow. It's not over. I must say it's not over, but 7 points up. That's some win for Sligo. Some win for Sligo. That Westmeath will still be promoted anyway, because they need. The only way Westmeath wouldn't have been promoted is if Clare beat Down. So yeah. Offaly Limerick, just looking at the score of that. Offaly are 2 points up going into the closing minutes, so it's looking like Offaly. Interesting enough, if Offaly had do lose and Wicklow won, then Offaly would go down, which would be mental. Rossies are finished, says Dublin. They are not looking good. They are not looking good. They go into the championship. I'm gonna have a look actually. Who are they playing again in the championship? I think they played a winner of Mayo New York last time I remember, but I'm gonna have a look at it here. Roscommon play. I've gone too far down. Yeah, they play the winner of New York Mayo, which you'd imagine would be Mayo, barring anything mental. A2 says Sligo mounting along nicely, to be fair to them, working hard at underage too. Matthew is joining us again here. How's things? Enjoy. I mean, and nothing really to report, to be fair. It's kind of been a little bit of a boring final day, to be honest.
Small bit, yeah, I suppose. Galway showed a bit of fight towards the end. Like there was a bit of brawls going on, but in the end, when you look at the Roscommon result, they probably didn't need to be fair. Well, Derry really pulled away in that game. I looked at the scoreboard there. Lachlan Murray was brilliant with 1-5. So brilliant result for Derry. It's Derry Dublin the final next week. I think the biggest headline probably, and I've only found this out going through my head and things like that. Since the All-Ireland final win in 2021 for Tyrone, the two results that they got in Croke Park were Kerry 2-18, Tyrone 12 points, Dublin 5-18, Tyrone 12 points. Is that worrying from a Tyrone point of view? Because I certainly think it is.
Yeah, it definitely could be. It definitely could be. Like it's an absolute hammering. Like 21 points is some margin, and I know a few Tyrone fans and on the stream and everything else, and people have been saying, Tyrone were missing key players and everything else. Like Dara Canavan wasn't there, but like Dublin missing key players as well. Dublin were missing big players. Big players weren't playing or whatever. So, I think a 21 point. You can excuse losing maybe when you don't have big players, but to lose like by 21 points is wild, really. Do you know that way? Like it's an absolute battering. Like.
It is, to be honest. Yeah, it's absolutely dreadful from a Tyrone point of view. And this is my question with Tyrone fans and Tim saying that they'll be all our contenders and things like that. And I look at Tyrone and I think they're so inconsistent. Like when you look at the league wins that they got, they beat the two sides that eventually went down to Roscommon and Monaghan, and the only other win they got was through a brilliant second half display against Mayo, where they were terrible in the first half. So I think honestly, Tyrone are the most and I stand by this point. Tyrone are the most inconsistent team, and I don't see where the project is going at the moment. When they face Monaghan or Cavan in the Ulster Championship, I wouldn't be surprised seeing them losing that game either. They're just that type of team. But to be honest with you, I don't think Tyrone are up to All-Ireland contending whatsoever this year. Even look at them, 2 results. Like, imagine winning an All-Ireland title and then getting 2 results that absolutely you get demolished like that both occasions. Like the game against Kerry last year was, I thought, one of the most embarrassing Tyrone performances in Croke Park that I've ever seen. And today it was up there as well. And you mentioned Dublin missing there. So they were missing Cluxton, McCarthy, Simons. Like Larkin O'Dale was starting this, Colin Basquel and all them. A few players came on. So yeah, I don't think Dublin put out their strongest team either. And let's not forget Tyrone. Look at their full forward line today. They had the likes of Rory Cannon in there. They had Colin McShane in there. They had Darren McCurry. Don't tell me that's the second team. So I'd be worried if I was a Tyrone fan. Like it's really, really worrying for the Red Hand County. I don't know why more of their fans aren't worried at this stage, because to me, like, it looks terrible at the moment. Like 2 results like that in Croke Park is just really, really poor.
Yeah, like I think the thing is, like, I think nobody's doubting that Tyrone don't have good players, but it's just been they've had a fair few big beatings over the past few years, especially since that All Ireland final win, and they haven't really been able to put 3 or 4 big wins together, which has been massively disappointing. Like in terms of Roscommon though, like that was one, like, to be beaten like that. Like I was keeping an eye obviously on the score, and they actually got back level at one stage. It was 1-8 to 1-8. And then Derry outscored Roscommon after that by 1-11 to a point from the 40th minute. Like that's not a good look for Roscommon whatsoever, because especially you would expect Roscommon to be the team pushing on, getting scores late on and bringing the game back. But like to be beaten by that margin, like that's criminal stuff really for Roscommon, I think.
It wasn't too bad in the first half, but when Derry started to play their free-flowing stuff, it started to open up like the Red Sea then, and that's a worrying aspect for Roscommon. And let's not forget, in a few weeks' time now, I think just under a month's time, they have to play Mayo in the College Championship, provided the Green and Red beat New York, of course. So that's just worrying. And when you looked at Mayo, didn't necessarily have to play for anything today. They battled back into it in the last 10 minutes. Like, they were 3 points down against Monaghan. Matthew Ryan gets a goal. And Mayo have that bounce back ability. Roscommon don't at the moment. And that would be the worrying thing going into the championship for the Rossies. I think they're definitely in the Sam McGuire anyway, barring some miracle, but like it doesn't look good really, does it? Like that's a damning scoreline really, and it was damning scoreline and performance last week as well. And all doesn't seem to be right either. Like the interviews that Davy Burke is giving send off a bit of a puzzling vibe, and the stuff Colleen had last week as well doesn't help any concern whatsoever. So yeah, it doesn't look good for Roscommon. It doesn't look good in the camp whatsoever. And like when you look at the 2 teams that actually went down, Roscommon and Monaghan, I know Roscommon actually ended up on more points. But in Monaghan, there's still a togetherness there. I just think Monaghan missed a lot of players. They got a bit of bad luck here and there. Like even today, they got a red card in the first half, but they still battled back into it. They were 3 points up going to the last minutes. And that was a game they didn't necessarily have to win. And when you look at the Tyrone game last week compared to Roscommon today, there was a lot of more fighting Monaghan than there was Roscommon. So I do feel worried about this Roscommon project. Is it dying of date? Maybe so. And yeah, maybe the loss of Kieran Murtagh is bigger than we thought for Roscommon, and they could be in for a hard season, really.
Absolutely, yeah. Like, and it is worrying times for Davy Burke and everything else. Just going into the closing minutes of the Division 3 games down, 3-15, Clare 1-9. Yeah, I mean, a little bit disappointing there from a Clare perspective. Like, interestingly enough, Sligo, like I was having a look at them there, that they were beating Westmeath 114 to 9 points last time I checked, which is a like significant win there for Sligo. So a little bit disappointing there from a Clare perspective to have been beaten, I suppose, quite convincingly as that.
Yeah, especially what happened in the other game. And you feel sorry for Clare in many ways. It was just a bad day at the office for them. Like it looked good for a few minutes. I think they got a goal the first half. They were keeping on tabs with Down, but then Down started to steamroll them. And I think it probably just showed more than anything, not Clare capitulating. It showed that Down are a serious team to be reckoned with this year. They look really, really good. Like even the players coming in, I think Finn McElroy came in place of O'Shea Savage today, and that didn't slow them down whatsoever. You have Pat Avern in the team as well. You have youngsters coming through the ranks like Eugene Brannigan. I don't think is on the panel today, but I think he's in and around the panel in previous games or even last season. So, and even the Kilcoo lads are buying into it. So I think it's more of a reflection of how well Down are doing rather than Clare losing today. I think it's a bigger surprise actually Sligo against Westmeath. Like, that was an absolute trouncing in many ways. I think it was 6 points the last time I checked on Scorpio, so it might be over now. But for Sligo to get a result like that when they didn't have much to play for, well, they didn't have anything to play for, speaks volumes about them too. So very good result for Sligo. They'll go into a Connacht Championship game now against Leitrim in 2 weeks' time. And let's not forget, Leitrim have a Division 4 final to contend with next week. So Sligo will be going into that well revved up. And after that, they'll face against Galway. I would imagine Galway should have enough to get over the line, but Sligo will definitely fancy their chance considering the youngsters coming through. They're buying into the panel there. Tony McEntee's doing a good job. So Sligo doing well. It's a bit of a worry for Westmeath, though, going to a final next week, and their last 2 games, they didn't manage to win them. So maybe a small bit of a worry, but it's a crucial final now next week between Down and Westmeath, because the winner of that game, as it stands, will be in the Sam Maguire Cup, barring any miracles or whatever, the provincial championship. So I think both teams will definitely go for it. Not only there's a national trophy on board, but there's Sam Maguire to contend with too.
Absolutely, yeah. Like, I'm looking at Westmeath's team that started, like, they had Ronan O'Toole, John Heslin came on at half time, Luke Loughlin was there, Ray Kennellan was there. So yeah, like a little bit surprising there maybe from a Westmeath perspective. Just looking full time, it seems to be in most of the games. So yeah, Sligo have beaten Westmeath 114 to 111. Down have beaten Clare 315 to 110. Antrim are staying up as well. They've beaten Wicklow 114 to 14 points. So disappointing result there from a Wicklow perspective. And then in terms of the Offaly Limerick game, looks like Offaly, I think that game is actually still playing potentially, but Offaly are a point up against Limerick, and obviously it won't matter now at this stage anyway because Wicklow have lost. But yeah, I suppose like Antrim getting the job done against Wicklow as well, which I suppose, like, again, not too many surprises or shocks really, and yeah, I suppose Antrim have done enough.
They have, and that shows Antrim's resilience more than anything, because that was a pressure cooker game today against Wicklow. They kind of backed themselves into a corner, and they had to get themselves out of it. Fair play to them for getting the results. Wicklow, like, they put the pressure on in some aspects of that game, but Antrim went out the right side. I think credit, really looking at the games, it's not over yet, but credit Limerick in fairness. Like, they've lost 6 games on bounce. You would have thought they'd just throw in the towel just like that, but they ended up only losing by a point against a decent Offaly team today. So, like, credit has to go to Jimmy Lee's team. It shows they're still fighting. It just shows that things aren't going their way that they'd hoped to. I know they face Cork in 2 weeks' time in the Munster Championship. It'll be interesting to see how they get on in that, and potentially in the Tailteann Cup, because even if they beat Cork, they play Kerry next, and I don't think Limerick are, well, it'd be safe to say Limerick are not going to get to a Munster final. So it'd be interesting to see how they get on the Tailteann Cup. Will that kind of effort translate into results in that competition? But kind of surprising with Offaly how poorly they did in the league. Like, they only scrape past Limerick today, 3 points today before that game. So not really a good campaign for them. Ultimately, Wicklow go down, Antrim stay up. But yeah, it's probably the 2 teams that nearly everybody would have predicted that would have gone Limerick and Wicklow. So yeah, it's kind of predicted at this stage. But fair play to Wicklow and Limerick, despite probably being inferior to the likes of Antrim and Offaly. They have fought tooth and nail to the bitter end, so fair play to them.
Absolutely, yeah. Tank says here, up the Dubs. Yeah, absolutely. Very, very good result from a Dublin perspective. And yeah, like, in terms of, you were watching a bit of the Monaghan Mayo game, were you? Like, obviously, in the end, Mayo getting the result late on. Like, I suppose nothing really, it wasn't a game really that mattered much, but to be fair to Monaghan, like, I think they finished with 13 men, didn't they? So, like, they made a bit of a game towards the end.
Yeah, I'm not sure about 13 men or 14 men, but they were down to 14 men for a period of time in the game. Andrew Wood getting sent off in the first half, but yeah, in fairness to Monaghan, they like Mayo hounded them back into it. So I think it was 140, or sorry, 14 points to 111. Then Kevin Locker gets a goal, and you're thinking, okay, Monaghan are going to end up on high here and get a win, and even finish ahead of Roscommon in Division 1, which they wouldn't have seen. But then Matty Moran gets that goal for Mayo. They come back into the game, and then it was easy. Then only Power got a point towards the end. Ryan O'Donoghue who got a free as well. So positive signs for Mayo going into the college championship. They'll face New York in 2 weeks' time, and as well as that, they don't have a league final to contend with next week. As for Monaghan, like 2 weeks' time, the game in the Ulster Championship now against Cavan. It'll be interesting to see how much fight there is in Monaghan in that particular game in general. Cavan have done well in Division 2, despite losing their last 2 games against Armagh Fermanagh in Division 2. So, like, it'll be interesting to see how Monaghan get on against a rival. Like, that rivalry, it's still strong, Monaghan and Cavan. The winner of that plays Tyrone, which is kind of a winnable game anyway. So yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see how Monaghan perform in that kind of a game. Darren Hughes, I seen, came back into the team in midfield as well. Jack McCarron didn't play in this game. I don't know, was it an injury or did Monaghan just want to rest him? I don't know what was the story there. Sean Jones came in, did pretty well. Obviously, Andrew Woods, as it stands, will be suspended for the game against Cavan, which isn't ideal. Conor McManus didn't play any part today. I don't know, was it an injury? Was he rested? So a lot of ifs, maybe for Monaghan, but a decent enough performance today, despite being down to 14 men for large chunks of it. But yeah, for Mayo, good results. They move on to the New York game in 2 weeks. Confidence surely up. And yeah, a decent enough game with 2 attacking sides, despite what little there was on the line.
I was muted there. Apologies. Gavin says Roscommon for Division 3 next year. Yeah, look, I mean, that would be absolutely mad if that happened. I don't think that will happen, but yeah, it's certainly not a good look for Roscommon right now. In fairness, I'll just run through the league tables here. So I've got these graphics here from @GA League Tables, so make sure to check them out on Twitter. They update the leagues live as they happen, so it's very handy and everything for all these streams and everything else. So yeah, make sure to check them out. Yeah, as you'll see there, Derry and Dublin, they've both been I was going to say promoted, but obviously that doesn't happen in Division 1. They go through to the league final. Kerry finished on third with 10 points. Mayo have 8 points. Tyrone finished fifth. And as you'll see, Roscommon and Monaghan both go down. You look at Dublin's score difference there, plus 49, which is very impressive stuff there from a Dublin perspective. And kind of mental, really, when you think about it, that Monaghan's only win came against Dublin in the opening weekend of the National Football League. Division 3 ends like this. So Down and Westmeath are both promoted despite Westmeath's defeat to Sligo. Clare finishing third with 10 points. Sligo in the end be very happy with how they've got on in Division 3. In fairness, 4 wins from 7 games, just 2 defeats as well. Yeah, very impressive stuff there from Sligo. Antrim finished 5th. Offaly stay up, obviously, as well. I think they've beaten Limerick from what I've seen there. And Wicklow and Limerick both go down. And then Division 4, Laois have been promoted alongside Leitrim, as we discussed earlier. Wexford got a huge result against Longford, but because Leitrim's head-to-head record is better than Wexford's, that's the reason for Leitrim getting promoted. Obviously, Leitrim beat Tipperary, and Laois comfortably beat Waterford as well, so they finish first. And I think Carlow beat London as well, so they finish in 5th, Tipperary 6th, London 7th, and Waterford 8th. So yeah, I suppose that very much wraps up the final day action. And yeah, a big thank you to anyone who tuned in, who left comments and anything else. And yeah, if you could hit the like button and subscribe, would be very much appreciated. We will be back tomorrow for a football review show at some point. And yeah, until then, we'll speak to you all soon.